to 989898.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Colder air takes over on this Tuesday. We've got 30s this morning, a chilly high at 42 this afternoon under partly cloudy skies. Dropping to 29 early tomorrow morning, a weak Clipper-type system approaching for Wednesday. So scattered flurries, maybe some light snow showers in the forecast Wednesday. Quick dusting possible on grassy and elevated surfaces. I think the roads are just primarily wet. Cold and breezy tomorrow, though, with afternoon wind chills in the 20s. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right, another great hour, ready to roll. Thanks to Ken Williams. It is a Tuesday. It's cold Tuesday. It's in December. I guess that's what it's supposed to be, right? I don't want to be a big baby. I don't like it. All right, listen, we've got a great stocking stuffer giveaway coming up, and we want to stuff your stocking. We'll raise my rent with great gifts this Christmas with our stocking stuffer giveaway. We're giving away over $1,000 in various gifts, and all you have to do to try to win, is to go to NewstalkSTL.com. That's easy. The easiest contests to win are on this stage, or at least to enter, is at NewstalkSTL.com. And we've got great gifts from El Morella Supermercado in Bridgeton and Metro Shooting Supplies in Bridgeton and Belleville. So don't miss out on your chance to win. It's good stuff. Register now at NewstalkSTL.com.
Raise my rent. You are the kid.
I am the kid. Yes, I am. Doctor's not in? Okay, no problem. All right. So is he going to show up? Do we know?
I don't know. I'm going to try him again here in a minute.
Because what I want to talk to him about is mental illness, mental health. Because it's funny, too. This cracked me up. Do you know the app called Nextdoor? Familiar with that?
I've heard of it. I don't know what
it's kind of like a social media thing.
Oh, wait a minute. No, that's the one that we actually resorted to find my dog.
Exactly. Okay, that's where you would do that.
Yeah.
So it is social media. So, of course, there has to be experts on there, too, who know everything about everything. And there was a shooting story, and some lady puts on there, oh, it's probably some alt-right guy, some alt-right 2A guy. It wasn't, A lot of the shooters are not only liberal, but they're crazy people,
Yeah.
So let's ask the doctor about that.
I don't know. We really had that looked at.
Randy Tobler.
You guys are ahead of the curve. You probably took your masks off a couple weeks before the CDC said it was okay.
Now, Dr. Randy Tobler.
What's up, Doc?
Hi, Doc.
How we doing, Vic?
Doing good, buddy. Doing good. So we were talking a second ago there about mental health, right? I think it's a problem in this country. Do you agree?
Huge problem, and there's not enough access because it's not reimbursed well, and it's a very labor-intensive pursuit on the part of those treating mental health.
And a lot of the shootings we find out later were people with mental health problems. Is that close to accurate?
I think you're very accurate, and I think in the moment, if you think about it, I mean, when there's a domestic dispute that turns into a violent act, you could argue that in the moment, that's a bit of, losing your mind, right? In the moment.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. Yeah.
So now I want to relate this to the Daniel Penny case, right? Good news.
Yes, sir.
Daniel Penny was acquitted. That's great news. Now, Neely clearly had mental health problems. Can we agree on that?
Absolutely. Yep.
And had it gone a different way, if Penny wasn't on that train, say, right? And Jordan Neely hurt or killed somebody, here we would be without the guns, but still injury or possibly death due to mental health. So I guess my question to you, Dr. Tobler, is what's the answer to this? Well, how do we fix this?
I don't know. I think it's a multifactorial fix, don't you? I mean, I think we have sociological problems wherein reportedly this family sort of abandoned this kid. And you know what? I actually can understand that. I mean, I think we've all known families that have struggled. They've raised a couple of kids, and they've got a kid that either gets into drugs or gets in with the wrong crowd, and you know they're tearing up the house. Their friends are stealing stuff from the house, and the family finally says, I just got to wash my hands of this. I can't fix this kid. But then there's no help. Where's the backup help from society? And or from the mental health system? And that's where the conundrum comes in. At the end of the day, it sounds like this is exactly one of those people, Mr. Neely, who would have been better served himself, and the public would have been better served if we had more of the, in-house mental health institutions, long-term mental health institutions that went the way of the dodo bird after one flew over the cuckoo's nest.
No kidding. There was a mental hospital, I guess the best way to describe it, in New Jersey. It was called Overbrook. And I think it was actually Geraldo who did this expose on this place with video of how these people were treated. And I think that was the beginning of the end of the mental facilities right there.
Yeah.
It was sort of a baby with the bathwater thing, because there were a lot of institutions that did a very good job. And just because there were a few bad actors, do we need to throw out the whole system? No, it probably needs reform and better management.
And Overwatch.
Yeah, right.
Oversight.
It doesn't seem like it's a complicated solution. These people are not well served to be left out on the streets. I mean, they live in squalor. They wander the streets. They don't have hygiene. They don't have food. They often turn to drugs. It's just they're lost souls. And you would think that there'd be hope for them. If there is hope, it's not going to be out on the streets and the drugs, walking in their own feces. It's just, that's not good for them. It's not good for society.
And Dr. Tobler, you see a lot of these people on social media that have, like, they got the pink and green hair. They've got the tattoos everywhere. They've got the piercings everywhere. Those people we get, they may be a little unstable, but they're in their own lane. They're doing their thing. I'm talking about the people you see on there that are so far left, like the one guy who was threatening the life of one of the representative who was trying to keep men out of the women's bathrooms. Nancy Mace. She was threatened with her life by that transgender guy. And he was, if you watch that video, that man is mentally unstable. He's mentally insane. And these are those people that we're talking about. It's not everybody, but there are a lot of people out there today that have gotten away with being able to be that way. And they should have been getting help in maybe a mental institution that we no longer have available.
You're right. And there's probably there may be in some cases an earlier ground before people, because they're ignored, their grievances are ignored, they're not ever heard, that go from manageable and reformable, rehabable, to absolutely radicalized and over the edge, right? And they cannot be reined in. And who knows, maybe that's what happened to this kook who shot the UHC CEO chairman. There may have been a point. This guy clearly was smart. I mean, there's no doubt this guy's IQ is high, and therefore able to process rational information at some point. After all, he gave a valedictorian speech. He got two degrees of computer science and so forth. So there's some point at which people start to go south, and their ruminations turn into psychosis, right? And the question is, is there a time when, if they'd have been made accountable for the first crazy thing they did, and I use crazy in a non-psychotic sense, is there a time that, had the right intervention occurred, that they wouldn't have then gone absolutely over the edge and become psychotic? What does psychotic mean? Psychotic means out of touch with reality.
Yeah.
And that's where these people are.
So mental health aside, right? Mental health or not,
it's
still not okay for a guy to be on a subway car,
No.
threatening people's lives, right? I'm going to get to something here that Kenny and I have been talking about for 3 years, believe it or not. Okay. It's still not okay. And somebody's got to stop it. So, manifested by the defund the police movement.
Yep.
I said to Ken, you know what's going to happen? Widespread vigilantism. You know. Now I don't know if the Daniel Penny thing is actually a vigilante moment, but it certainly is a defend the innocent moment, and that's what happens when you want to defund the police. So the basic thing is, Democrats are stupid and they should leave.
Right.
Well, the basic thing is that I think that, well, I don't know if they're stupid, but I think they're impractical and they're too emotional. And by that, I mean, I think we could all agree that wouldn't it be nice if we could avoid the George Floyd moments, the Jordan Neely moments? Who was the guy in Baltimore that ended up in the back of an ambulance, ended up dying?
Freddie something. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, no one wants this to happen to any human being. We don't want this to happen. But
Freddie Gray. Sorry.
You don't take away the protection of the people who don't want this to happen from those people who it's happening to, right? I mean, the problem is you don't take away the protectors of society. You don't take away the police officers. And when you do that, I think you're absolutely right. Desperate populations, meaning law-abiding citizens, finally say out of frustration, if the police ain't going to do it, if the justice system ain't going to do it, if we're going to have a revolving door of people who go in and out and are clearly not rehabable at some point, I guess I got to take care of myself and those around me.
And you know what? It's not just defunding the police, though, Dr. Tobler. I saw a video last night of this woman being arrested by two cops. They were women, but they were extremely overweight. And this woman started running away. They couldn't catch her, and they wouldn't shoot her because they're DEI. They're very woke, and they're not going to shoot her. So they just start chasing the girl, and the girl's turning around and actually mocking them, and then running away. I mean, that is another part of the problem, I think.
You've got it exactly right. We have lost, and I keep saying this. I don't think this is not a difficult fix. This is a simple fix that doesn't make it easy. But I'll bet you that woman at some point acted out in school and was told by someone in school, maybe the principal, maybe a guidance counselor, maybe a classroom teacher. Well, when someone wanted to discipline that child, was told by someone in that child's life, or that child was told when someone wanted to discipline them, oh, honey, they don't understand the trauma you've been through. They don't understand that you're a poor, marginalized person. And who are they to make you accountable for that behavior? Shame on them. That's going on. That's going on in our society, where there's no right or wrong. It's only wrong if you've grown up in some privileged society. Then it's wrong if you do something wrong. But if you've grown up in anything but what is defined as privilege, you're excused away. Improper behavior, absolutely out of the lanes of normative civil behavior, is excused away. And it starts early, starts in our schools. And then people think that they can just get away with that kind of crap. And then the next thing you know, they steal, and well, we're not going to prosecute theft because after all, these people had a tough upbringing. And then, well, you slap your girlfriend around, and the guy said, well, come on, he had a lot of trauma as a kid, so that's what happened, you know. And then the next thing you know, he's raping or shooting someone. I believe it starts earlier, and it's like eating. We're noticing in our practice that if we can get kids to start eating right, and get excited about it, guess what? The parents do that, and those kids grow up, against the grain. They're not fat. They're not out of shape because they're kids and they learn early the right way to do things. I think it applies to all of our behaviors. I really believe that.
Maybe RFK Jr. will help in that regard. So, I think you're right, because as you were saying that about kids when they were younger. Like I graduated high school almost 50 years ago now, okay? But when I look back on some of the people and what have happened to them, Michael Salvatore, I knew he was going to die in a car crash because he was a crazy wild driver when he was in high school.
Really?
You know? there were other kids that, yeah, I knew he was going to die of an overdose because he was doing, drugs in high school. So you're right. I mean, if we start early enough, maybe we can stop this from happening. Less gun violence, which of course is always by the left, which I will state again. And getting back to the vigilante thing, I'm sure you're familiar with the Guardian Angels, yeah?
Oh yeah, Curtis Lewa.
Exactly. My friends and I were in Washington Square one night years ago, 15 years ago. And we were sitting there, and not that we felt threatened at all, because New York City was different. It was cool to hang out outside and have like a little party or whatever. And we saw those red berets come walking down the street. I'm not saying Curtis Lewa was in this group of people, but they were definitely Guardian Angels. And suddenly we all felt completely safe. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a vigilante thing. It's against the law, but we felt very safe.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not very difficult. It may be, the solutions are to have a police presence. Didn't Giuliani really prove that when the police were around, just being around, being present, being visible, that community policing, have the cops take their cars home and see them in the driveway,
Yeah.
All of that kind of stuff makes a difference. The presence of authority, until a society becomes anarchist, the presence of authority generally settles things. It just settles things. A, because you're going to be made accountable if you act out, and B, you feel safe. So on both ends of that spectrum, it's a good thing to have people around. And, going back to the kids thing and all this, I think I've heard child psychologists and developmental people say, kids really do want boundaries, but yet I think the liberals think that somehow boundaries are somehow, they're trampling on civil rights. They're trampling on a person's human rights and their freedoms. Well, kids don't deserve freedoms and human rights beyond a certain point. Right?
Got it.
They
Right. Completely agree.
And here's the thing. They, according to the authorities I've read, they want boundaries. Kids may act out, and I look at my little 6 and 3-year-old, granddaughters, and they'll start acting out and whining and laying on the floor and everything. And boy, when their dad or their mom, you know what it is. We've all been there and done that. You get that stern face. You look them in the eye and you say, "That's unacceptable." Exactly. You're going to your room. We're going to read for 5 minutes, and then you're going to go to bed. More often than not, they straighten up. And if that's the clear, consistent message, I think kids actually want that structure at some point. Maybe not consciously, but they seem to at least respond to that. And if society's not giving them structure, well, they're going to be kids. And what do kids do? Who was it? James Dobson wrote a book on raising boys. Was it in Raising Boys? I'll never forget. It was like, if kids came out knowing what to do, they wouldn't poop in their diapers right off the bat, right? They'd come out and they'd poop in the toilet for us.
I saw a video. Here's another little story, but this is probably gonna make you all mad. This woman, her daughter was in a store with her, and she was probably about 8 years old. She started taking things off of the shelves and dropping them on the floor and breaking them and just hitting them and knocking things, walking around doing it, right? Well, the people were saying, "Mom, take care of this problem." The mom's like, "You don't know what that girl's going through. You don't know her. You don't touch her. If you touch her, I'm calling the police."
It was terrible. Dr. Tobler, it was terrible. So I don't know why this shot into my head, but the difference between newborn humans and newborn animals, right? Drastic difference, right? A giraffe has a baby. He's already walking. He knows where to get the hay, to eat, and everything. And we are useless as newborn beings, aren't we?
Yeah, we really are very, very.
God,
we're little balls of clay that have a lot of molding that's needed. You're right.
They start crying, "The kitchen's over. Make yourself a sandwich." But I guess you can't do it. All right, Dr. Randy Tobler, Saturday mornings, 6 to 9, and in my case, of course, I got up as an infant and made myself a sandwich. No, I'm just kidding.
There you go.
And every morning on the Eagle in Columbia, Dr. Tobler, thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure. See you next time.
Thanks, Dr. Tobler.
You ever think about that?
So funny.
You watch a baby animal get born, and they're like a horse. He's already walking, and we got to crawl on 8 months of that crap.
Slobber on
maybe
ourselves.
More than 8 months. Right. Throw up all over you. Right. Feed him with the bottle.
The visual you created there was pretty.
What a pain in the ass.
A kid making his own sandwich.
Right. Get up and go to the refrigerator. There's the mustard. There's the bread. Eat your skin and bones. All right. I don't know what we're going to do next. You know what we're going to do next?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Stick around, though. Are we on the thing now? Are we?
No,
Okay.
we're having a lot of issues with our streams, guys. Sorry.
Who do we blame for that?
We'll just blame us. It's fine.
You and me?
Yeah.
No way.
We'll try and fix it.
No way. Blame Ferguson.
Yeah.
It's all his
There
fault.
you go. There you
It's
go.
all Mike Ferguson.
Morning show did it.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. The Vic Porcelli Show.
As President Lincoln said,
What, do you have a cough due to cold?
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
So how about a career in the Air Force or the Space Force? That'd be. It's such a great opportunity. It's hard to say no. So if you are young enough where you're just starting a career, or if you have a child who wants to, when I say child, not infant child, which can't do anything for himself, like even make a sandwich. I'm talking about somebody 17, 18. Go have them call Dr. Jeez, I got Dr. Tobler on the mind. Staff Sergeant Jeremy Jefferson, 314-295-6834 for the United States Air Force and Space Force. Competitive starting salary, free education opportunities, 30 days of vacation. The hell? What are we doing here, Ken? Do we get 30 days?
Nope.
Maybe we should talk to the guy who owns the joint.
Yeah.
Well, we don't get 30 days paid vacation and food.
I'm not sure this qualifies as work.
Well, you know what? You bring up a good point. Can't you pay me to play? Live, travel, and work overseas. Retire after 20 years. Over 200 different careers. The United States Air Force and Space Force. Sergeant Jeremy Jefferson waiting for your call right now. 314-295-6834.
This Dr. Randy Tobler segment is brought to you by Advanced Dentistry Now. Doctors Dan Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer, 636-978-0226, or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com.
Craving real barbecue, St. Louis? Your search ends here. 4 incredible locations: Bogart's, Dale Smokehouse, and 2 Pappy Smokehouse spots, each serving up mouth-watering, slow-smoked perfection. Only the highest quality meats, prepared with love and care by our friendly staff. From ribs to brisket, our full menu has something for everyone. Dine in for lunch or dinner, or let us cater your next event. Bogart's, Dale Smokehouse, and Pappy Smokehouse. Where smoke meets delight, every bite is a highlight.
Dive into adventure with Great American Divers. We're your local veteran-owned scuba center offering PADI certification courses, equipment repairs, and dive travel opportunities. From beginners to experts, we got you covered. Kids can join our SEAL Team classes, and we even host pool parties. Our experienced staff is passionate about teaching, and we're the only center in the area with our own indoor heated pool. Great American Divers on Central School Road in St. Charles. Visit greatamericandivers.com. Great American Divers, where adventure runs deep.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Sometimes it's hard to know what's real and what isn't.
Right here.
The country is heading in the wrong direction under this president. We're suffering shortages. America's running out of everything.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
She knows so long as this is denied, our freedom can never be secured.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Should there be more cooperation with ICE agents, though?
Yes, I do believe that. I stated this prior to the election. And this is what get me, Marsha. People are saying, okay, after the president-elect is coming in, Eric is now saying different things. No, I was saying this prior to the election. I was saying those who are committing crimes in our city must be addressed, and we should change the current sanctuary city law to address that issue.
So do you think you could have any chance of re-altering or re-changing it so that there's more cooperation?
Well, the city council made it clear they don't want to change that. They stated they're not willing to change the sanctuary city law. I think they're wrong. I have my teams looking at my power as executive orders. I'm going to
Is
sit.
it possible you could do an executive order?
We're looking at that. The legal team, the corporation council that they just approved, they're looking at, the office is looking at, do I have the power to do so?
What is it with people who interview people and don't really want to hear the answer to the question?
Yeah.
Because they interrupt in the middle of the question and ask something different.
Well, the question really is more important.
More important
to them.
Yeah, the new question, right?
Right.
That was Marsha Kramer, whoever she is, from CBS TV, interviewing Eric Adams, mayor of New York, who was all on board for the defund the police movement
Big
at
time,
first,
big
right?
time, yeah.
He's trying to make like he wasn't. Like, oh, before the election. Okay, how about before the election, when you were for defund the police?
So much so that they were standing up. They were actually having parades and things saying, we're going to be a part of this sanctuary thing.
And now they don't want to be a sanctuary city.
No.
And I get it. But I got it all along. You got it all along.
Yeah.
The mayor of the city didn't get it all along. That's the problem.
But you know what? You know how obvious this whole thing was? Again, we'll go back to what you said earlier today at the beginning of the show. We started talking about defund the police. What's going to happen if they do that? If they make that step, if any city says defund the police, then the result of that is going to be disastrous. It's just a natural progression of what you do. It's a equal and opposite reaction, Vic.
What are you, Albert Einstein?
No, but we talked about this. I mean, it was from the... What do you got?
Albert Einstein over here.
Well, I wish I had his
opposite
hair.
and equal reaction. Say it with a German accent. But the point is that I guess I don't know what the point is, Ken, because I don't know where this started. I don't know where this defund the police, we don't need police anymore attitude came about.
I kind of sensed where it came from. Okay, remember the summer of love 2020 when you had Donald Trump? He was the president, right? I'm talking about when Donald Trump was president. Anything Donald Trump said, people hated. I'm talking about the left now, only on the left.
But I just want to make sure we have our timeline right. He was a still president, I guess, right?
Yes,
Okay,
still,
okay. So go ahead.
yeah, he was still president. And then you had Nancy Pelosi hating on him. No matter what, if Donald Trump at one point said, "All right, well, we're the law enforcement administration," well, hey, well then we're defunding the police. Because that's what they did. Remember that when BLM and all those, Antifa for one, they started all the defunding thing. They started saying we need to get rid of the police. Well, guess what? They're anarchists. They don't want the police. But the problem is that you had groups of people like leaders in our government that are on the left saying, you know, that's a pretty good idea.
So Ken, I think you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're saying it all started with the death of George Floyd.
I think so. I think it did.
That was May 25th, 2020.
Okay. I think it did.
Beginning of the summer.
Yes, I think it did. I think what happened then, because people were so afraid. If you remember back then when they were burning down buildings, people were so afraid to stop them. I don't think that's going to be the case this time. If this guy's from New York, that BLM representative, if he's talking about doing the same thing again, I think it's going to be a different story.
But do we have the manpower to do it in the police departments because of all the jobs that they lost in New York? Are there enough cops to stop any kind of violence?
That's a big question, Vic.
Because it's not like you say, defund the police. Okay, you guys are all gone. Wait, fund the police. And now they're all back magically.
Right. No. In fact, okay, here's another thing we taught. And I remember this stuff like it was yesterday because it was really, it made an impact on my life because I have law enforcement in my family. When that happened, when that originally happened, we said, I'm talking about back when we got on the air, we said, okay, if you continue this, sure, it's easy to defund, but to refund the police and get them back is going to be a lot more difficult.
To make an analogy, it's really easy to gain weight, but it's tough to lose it.
Yeah.
Same thing, except with dollars and fat.
Exactly.
So, George Floyd, they made him this absolute martyr angel, right? They drew a mural of him with wings on.
Oh, it's horrible.
The guy was a drug addict, criminal.
He beat on a woman who was pregnant, threatened to kill her kid.
The day that he died, earlier in the day, he said he was whooping whatever that is.
I don't know. They said he had so much fentanyl in his system that it would have killed a normal human being. And that's one reason why they think that he died.
And Derek Chauvin was convicted of killing him when he didn't kill him. Okay. I'm not trying to be, you know, oh, Vic, you're just saying wild stuff because you're a big racist. I'm not a racist, by the way. But when Derek Chauvin did what he did, we talked about this yesterday. He was doing exactly what the manual for a police officer at the Minneapolis Police Department was told to do.
Yeah, you've got to get rid of the culture. You've got to get rid of the racism end of this. You'll eliminate that from your mind, first of all. Going into, you have. I'm saying to be a practical person listening to this and talking about it, you've got to say, okay, first of all, let's get racism off the table because it wasn't. Okay, culturally, what happened, I remember back in 2020, culturally, people were like, well, let's lean toward this. It's virtuous to support this type of thing, even though, again, it was BLM. I'm not talking about Black Lives Matter. I'm talking about BLM, the Marxist organization that raised money for the Democrat Party, and Antifa, which, yes, it does exist. It is a real thing, Joe Biden, and you could see it every single day in Portland, Oregon.
So,
okay,
go ahead.
In the chop zone.
So the documentary Minneapolis is Burning, right?
Right.
We both watched that. And when you look at that, the things that you realize are really, a lot of it is the fault of the media.
Yes.
Because they don't show you the whole thing.
Right.
Right? They only show you what looks like a white cop killing a black guy.
Well, what about the reporter who was standing in front of a fire and people throwing things at each other? And you say, well, it's a mostly peaceful protest.
Let's go back even further.
Okay.
To Rodney King. You remember Rodney King?
Oh my God, yes.
What did the news, how many, that was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
What did the news show you? They just showed you a bunch of cops beating on Rodney King.
That's all they ever showed you. Yeah.
What they didn't show you was the 15 minutes of footage before that when he was rushing at the police officers and being threatening, and they had to do something to subdue him because he was a big, strong guy.
Right.
But they didn't show you that.
Correct.
Derek Chauvin, they didn't show you the whole video.
What about Michael Brown?
Michael Brown. All right.
Hands up, don't shoot. They started that.
They took a phrase, hands up, don't shoot, from somebody who didn't even witness what was going on.
Right.
And they said that Michael Brown was on the ground with his hands up saying, don't shoot. Okay. That never happened.
Not even close.
And that crazy, wild notion got as far as the Rams. When the Rams came out, when they were here.
Right.
They came out onto the field doing hands up, don't shoot.
It was crazy because Michael Brown actually was going for his gun. Had Michael Brown succeeded, we would have had a cop who was dead and Michael Brown would have been alive running.
All right. So getting back to what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
The Summer of Love, the violence. This guy, Hawk Newsom, he's high up in the BLM organization, talking about black vigilantes. That's the way he said it. And, you know, I wish the police department in New York had the manpower to stop it, but I really don't think they do. So then now where does that lead us? Because there were protests last night. They didn't lead to much, or that they'd be leading with that, right?
Right.
But no.
Okay, so Donald Trump can't do this right now. He has no executive power at the moment because he's not president, even though he's acting like it. There's a vacuum right now in our leadership. Okay, but if once Donald Trump does come into office, he should ask the cities, do you need help? If you don't need help, there's nothing he can do about it. But if they accept the help, then he should bring in the National Guard.
Mm-hmm.
And they should stop this. This should not happen. This should never happen again. Never again should it be where a group of people rioting, burning down billions of dollars worth of property, murdering people in a city. That should never, ever happen again. Painting their names on on Pennsylvania Avenue. That should never, ever happen again.
Agreed. All right, I'm done. You done?
Yeah.
All right. Drew Thomas Allen, our conservative on the loony left coast. He joins us next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home. I missed it. I completely missed it. I hate it.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. The Vic Porcelli Show.
We squeeze in a dry hump day under partly sunny skies
on NewstalkSTL.
I like people who do good. You agree?
I totally agree.
You know who does good? Jen Wallner of the Wallner Home Selling Team. She and her husband, Rodney and Jen Wallner, sell 15 times more homes per year than your typical realtor. Great. So we know they're great realtors. They're the first thing you should think of when you want to sell your home is to call them. Now, on a human level, doing good. Jen Wallner, when she was a child, was in a foster home situation. Bad situation. Then she was taken from the bad situation and put in a worse situation, you know?
Right.
How many kids, we were talking to Dr. Tobler about, it starts when you're a kid. How many kids just would have taken that and said, no, nobody loves me. I'm just not going to do anything. I'm just going to live in the street or whatever. Jen, so look at what she turned out to be.
Right.
And her Angels Arms Foundation helps kids that were in the situation that she was in. So, yeah, she'll sell your house. Absolutely. But when you call her, you'll realize how good of a lady she is and how good of a guy Rodney is. So give him a call if you want to sell your home. There's no long-term contract in Missouri or Illinois. It's 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner Home Selling Team. 314-810-SOLD.
Live and local.
Well, here's what's on my mind. I think I got the solution to immigration.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Nate Lucas here for the Village Bar in the heart of Des Peres. Since 1948, the Village Bar has been the go-to destination for delicious food, cold drinks, and unbeatable atmosphere. Savor their famous wings, burgers, and onion rings, or grab a drink from their fully stocked bar. Catch all the big games and enjoy the company of their friendly staff. Plus, don't miss the 1879 Distillery, a one-of-a-kind experience right next door. The Village Bar offers the best value in town. Find the Village Bar on Facebook and come experience where history meets great times. You'll be glad you did.
Fox News commentary.
A Missouri lawmaker is floating the idea of rewarding residents who report illegal immigrants to authorities. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Success. It's discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us that comes before all recognition. It's the best of each of us made better by the best in all of us. It's what Stifel's been doing for over 130 years. And it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management and investment banking firms in the industry. Stifel. It's where success meets success. Start your journey at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
A new bill floated by Missouri State Republican House Rep. David Gregory includes a monetary reward program for those who report and turn in illegal immigrants living in the state. The bill seeks to pay Missouri residents $1,000 to report illegal immigrants in a program critics liken to a bounty hunt. Residents would offer these credible leads to State Highway Patrol, and if caught, the illegal aliens in question would be incarcerated. Civil rights attorneys are decrying this proposal as dangerous and problematic, and it does seem a tad extreme. I don't necessarily think the state of Missouri, or any state for that matter, should be incentivizing residents to find or detain anyone. Rather, the state and all states should instead give Border Czar Tom Homan and his ICE agents the full support and resources to do their job to the best of their ability. They are, in fact, the trained professionals, and if given full cooperation from state lawmakers and local law enforcement, they will make easy work of finding and removing those here illegally. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
The Allman Report.
Hey, Tuesday on the Allman Report, the plot thickening on that murder of the CEO. We'll follow up on that on the Allman Report, News Talk STL.
Jamie Allman. Weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL. This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
How dare you?
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Good morning. Welcome to 1019-94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Vic Porcelli. That guy there is Ken Williams. So we get through this week, right? Today is the 10th. We work all this week, and then next week we work all that week, and then the week after that, Kenny and I are off from the 23rd through the 27th.
Well, you've got that down to the minute, don't you?
You think?
I think so.
So what's going to happen here, you may be asking? On the 23rd of December, that's the Monday, the one and only Karen Cataline will do the show. I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah.
She's great, and we love her. Larry Connors is going to do the show on the 24th.
Mm-hmm.
The great Larry Connors. Should we allow that to happen?
Talk about the urgency in someone's voice.
Yeah. I wonder when he does the show if he's going to say, lock and load, ready.
I think he should.
On the right. What's his thing? His show.
Then he should do it.
I don't think he should. You know why?
Why?
Because if he says it, people are going to say, oh, Larry must be doing this time now during the day. They must have got rid of Vic and Ken.
So I think you should do it.
You don't care that people will think that?
I think he should do it. He should do his intro. I think it'd be cool. It'd be cool.
Sopranos music.
Yeah.
Lock and load, ready. On the right. Bill Eigel, Senator Bill Eigel is doing the show on Thursday the 26th.
That'll be fun.
That'd be great. And Nate Lucas will do the show on Friday the 27th.
I'm not sure what producer is going to be doing that with Nate, but they need to have that delay button available.
Yeah.
Make sure that delay button is right there, next to you.
It doesn't say who the producers are.
I'll figure it out.
And so when Karen does the show, you're not going to be able to see her because she's going to do it from her home in Texas. But you'll be able to hear her. And the great, she just a lover of the English language. All right, let's go.
Drew Allen of the Drew Allen Show podcast.
It's people who love this country and respect freedom and want to preserve it for the future. It really shouldn't be political.
Amico mio, come stai?
Ciao, buongiorno, Ciccio. Sono molto contento.
Right there, you have a guy who speaks fluent Italian and a guy who speaks hardly any.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Thomas Allen, good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Buenos dias.
Hey, that's not either of those languages. What are you doing?
Hey, I wonder if Luigi speaks Italian.
You think I'm trilingual? I'm not even unilingual. So anyway,
I know. Some days I struggle with English myself, so it's okay.
All right, Drew, we got to talk about this kid that shot the CEO. His name is Luigi Mangione. There's something weird about that. I don't buy that name for some reason. How about you?
Well, the whole thing's bizarre. I mean, there are a couple things that are at play here. One is that we have such complete distrust in basically our government at this point that we don't even really believe right out of the gate that this is who they say it is and this is who did it and so on and so forth. I mean, it's a very strange situation. I mean, if we are to believe it, and maybe this is the guy, I'm not saying that he's not. I'm just saying it's very, very strange. I mean, I just find it odd as well how, the NYPD, of course, can track down this guy rather quickly within a week and know all this information about him. And yet when it came to the lunatic that tried to assassinate, President-elect Trump the first time, we don't know anything about him and his 18 cell phones and so on and so forth. So I'm just, it's very hard to buy anything. But if this is the person, and maybe it is, like I said, it is interesting that he was indoctrinated by Ivy League institutions. And of course, the motive for his, the assassination he carried out, of course, was driven by left-wing ideology and talking points. And that alone is reason to have another conversation, or maybe the first conversation that includes the left in this country about how their ideology creates murderers and killers and death.
And he idolized Ted Kaczynski.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, look, it's entirely possible. I mean, you've got lunatics that are young today You have a machine out there that includes the media and certainly the Democrat Party that, of course, is taking over these institutions, and they feed people this hatred all day long, and they radicalize people. And so, that's really without knowing everything right now. What we do know is that who is it in this country that creates the boogeyman of the private insurance companies? And by the way, I just wanted to point something out. I really am praying that there is some Democrat listening right now, because I want to tell you how stupid you are. So, you hear the conversations on the left about this, and they, Taylor Lorenz, who just got fired from her third job, wherever she was at, but she was at the New York Times and the Washington Post, and now somewhere else she got fired. But she's out there celebrating this and saying, this guy got what he deserves because these private insurance companies, withhold care and are responsible for death. Now they want to replace it with socialized medicine. Are they aware that under socialized medicine that treatments and drugs are withheld and that people die far more than under private insurers? I mean, this is the kind of mental rot that we have to deal with with these people in this country that sit here and they celebrate the assassination of the CEO of the largest private healthcare company in America because they whatever the Democrat Party tells them, and some of it's true. There are realities that we face, and of course, we don't really have privatized insurance. It's all muddled up with the government. But are these same people going to take their? Why don't these people get mad at the government ever? They get mad at private companies who may have shortcomings here and there, and I'm just talking broadly now. But there is no greater monstrosity that does more damage and hurts more people in this country than the U.S. government, and yet these people still love it. I can't deal with these people. Lunatic. You're a lunatic.
Single payer healthcare, socialized medicine, as you put it, Drew, they would require a death panel, literally a panel to say, well, you're a little older. You don't really necessarily, we don't want to pay for what you need, the surgery that you might need. So goodbye. We'll make you feel comfortable until you're dead.
That's right. Listen to me. Ascoltami, okay? Ascoltami.
Sì.
I'm going to tell you something. So I lived in Milan, Italy, when I was 23. I did it for 2 years, and I had a friend at this bar I'd go to every night because I like to practice my Italian and whatever. It was like this cultural immersion. And his name was Mario. He was an older guy, and he loved to spar with me about American politics. Now, he had never stepped foot in America his entire life, but he thought he knew everything about America. And by the way, I love this guy, sweetest guy, but he loved to argue with me, and we did it in a loving way. But he told me one night, you Americans are barbaric. I said, what do you mean, Mario? What are you talking about? Well, you guys have dead bodies piled up in the street because you don't have, socialized medicine. I said, firstly, that's not true. And then I listed off, the number of programs we do have that are effectively socialized medicine, from COBRA to the VA to Medicare and all the and on and on and on. And anyway, I just asked him, I played devil's advocate, and it was like a conversation we've all heard, actually. But I couldn't believe it was true. It was almost like a screenplay had been written. He was just reading the lines. I said, Mario, okay, whatever. You say socialized medicine is the way to go, and you guys are wonderful. I said, well, if you get cancer tomorrow, how long until you can see a doctor? He said 2 or 3 months. And I may have told this story to you guys before, but it's relevant again. I said 2 or 3 months, Mario. What if you're dead in 2 to 3 months? He said, well, if I have money, I can go and see, a private doctor instead. I said, well, do you have the money to do that? He said, no. So I said, so you haven't solved the problem that you have professed to exist under the privatized system, right? I mean, you claim that, the rich can do X, Y, Z, and here you are having the rich in Italy that circumvent the system anyway. So all you're doing is, I said, you have insurance, but no care. What good is it, Mario? So, under your system and socialism, if you have 9 people that have excellent insurance and 1 person that doesn't, you would bring those 9 people down to the station of that 1 rather than trying to elevate that 1 to give them insurance. And everyone has sub-mediocre healthcare. And so, of course, people die under that system. And so when I see the left outraged and celebrating the murder of the CEO because he represents privatized insurance, which is, some evil in this world, these people think nothing about how much worse socialized medicine is and how many people die under those systems. And it just makes me sick to my stomach that we have to live with people that have no neurons firing.
All right, so let's move from Mario to Luigi. All right, back to Luigi. So I got both of them in there, right?
Yeah.
And Mario.
I heard that too, Vic.
So,
when you said Mario, Vic's face lit up a little bit.
So I had to laugh because these press conferences, when something like this happens, you have the local. When something happened like the Altoona, Pennsylvania, right? Only the local Altoona TV reporters, I guess, were there. And every one of them thinks they're going to ask that one question that's going to change their career, and they're going to be Dan Rather, and they're going to be right on the national news. But the New York City press conference, the lady said, this was just great old-fashioned police investigation. This is how investigation should be. Oh, okay. A kid that works at McDonald's solved your problem, not your police force.
Oh my gosh, that's a great point. That's right. It wasn't the police department that I mean, I'm not trying to attack them or anything, but it wasn't them. You're right. It was somebody who called in and said, "Hey, I saw that picture of that smiling guy on that photo. This guy kind of looks like him. And he's weird and whatever else."
He's weird.
Exactly. Hey, can you convince him to to double the what do you call it? Make when you make it bigger.
Supersize it.
Yeah. Hold him there. Convince him to supersize his meal. We'll be there in a minute.
And Drew, this kid's supposed to be so smart, right? He's got 130 IQ, Ivy League education, and he's got the murder weapon with him in the bag in McDonald's.
Yeah. It's just, it's truly bizarre. I mean, I guess I could try to fathom how that's possible. That he he worked up his appetite, and wasn't watching the news and was completely oblivious to anything else. And he just thought he could walk in there and he didn't think to ditch the weapon or anything. I mean, it's just strange, but it seems like he did ditch certain things in the part. I mean, I'm just not buying everything, guys.
Me neither, Drew. There's something stinks about this. I said it from the beginning, didn't I?
Yeah.
Vic, it's like it's too easy now. Also, right? It's too easy. By the way, like.
I'm with you. And when this first happened, Drew, they said, "Well, is he a pro?" And I was like, "Well, if he was a pro, he would have shot and immediately put his hand to his side and dropped the gun, right?" That's what Clemenza tells Michael: just drop the gun and move on. But he kept it with him because he made it.
Well, and now they're saying it was a ghost gun and so on and so forth, And I noticed that the Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, that was an important thing to point out to him because, I guarantee you soon it will come. This call to ban ghost guns and so on and so forth is going to be the next thing they come up with.
But the left isn't calling for gun control now, right?
Celebrating his death.
Right.
Huh?
The left is not calling for gun control now because a gun killed the guy that they hate, the CEO of a healthcare company.
Yeah, it is interesting. They probably think that people that are leftists that want to kill those that they deem, are evil, whether it's this guy or Trump, they should probably be given a weapon or something like that as part of a new socialized program.
And this guy himself never made a decision personally to not give somebody a prescription or not cover somebody's surgery. It never went that high to the top. He just happens to be the guy at the top.
And Vic, the remark that you just made, I think is the bigger point of this whole thing is that the left, it didn't fit their narrative. So the first of all, the gun thing, them fighting about the guns, that's gone. That's out.
Now they're like, yay, guns.
Yay, dead man. Yeah. Dead man, good. Good. Man. I don't care because I'm on the left and I don't care about life in general. Only if it suits me will we save anybody. And that, Drew, we can tie that back into your death panels in single payer healthcare.
All right, Drew, we got to wrap it up. But great to have you with us again, of course, and keep on going. One day we got to get together and give me an Italian lesson. Is that okay?
It's going to happen. When I finish this next book about Italy, I will come out there. We'll do something.
Oh, awesome!
Put my name in
there.
Porcelli. Make sure you spell my name right in the book. Okay. That's true, Thomas Allen. We got to go. Thank you so much for having the record player on at night to listen to us this morning.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
Bongino's next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Whoosh. If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 101.9. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
For over half a century, Joe Bacardi's has been serving up a little taste of Italy right here in St. Louis. Family owned since 1971, we're more than just a restaurant. We're a local landmark. With 4 convenient locations, we offer something for everyone, from our famous pizzas to mouth-watering entrees and delicious salads. Dine in with a glass of wine or grab a quick carryout. Whether it's dinner for 2 or catering for a crowd, Joe Bacardi's has you covered. Visit joebacardis.com and join our loyalty program. Joe Bacardi's, where every meal ends with buon appetito.
Hello, Tim Jones here with Eric from Newsteaders Fine Jewelers. Eric, your diamonds are so fantastic at Newsteaders. You named the website after them, wowdiamonds.com. Tell us about Wow Diamonds.
Well, we picked that name because when people look at the diamonds, they all exclaim the same thing. Everybody says, wow. And nobody can spell Newsteaders, so we figured Wow Diamonds would definitely be a good tagline, and it's very accurate. We actually introduced the lab-grown diamond to our St. Louis family, and we're the exclusive home of the trademarked Wow Diamond. It's the most perfectly cut and polished diamond you'll ever experience, and we can fit one into anyone's budget. The thing that's nice about them is they're significantly less expensive than a mined diamond, and of course the artwork is in the cutting and polishing. That's where you get the beauty in the diamond, and that's what we excel at.
Newsteaders, a St. Louis jewelry tradition since 1961. Stop by and find out why. 2961 Daughtery Ferry Road, or on the internet, wowdiamonds.com for Newsteaders Fine Jewelers.
KLGY HD3 Clay, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalksstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. New York prosecutors have charged Luigi Mangione with murder in the fatal shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Mangione being held without bail in Pennsylvania. That's after he was arrested and arraigned on gun, forgery, and other charges the day before. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro says vigilante justice by ideologues makes everyone less safe.
I understand people have real frustration with our healthcare system, and I have worked to address that throughout my career. But I have no tolerance, nor should anyone, for one man using an illegal ghost gun to murder someone because he thinks his opinion matters most.
Mangione is expected to be extradited to New York eventually. Also at townhall.com, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is in court this week.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is taking the stand in his long-running trial for alleged corruption, setting off what's expected to be a weeks-long spectacle that will draw unwelcome attention to his legal woes as he faces an international arrest warrant for war crimes, and the fighting in Gaza continues. Netanyahu's charged with fraud, breach of trust, and accepting bribes in 3 separate cases. Netanyahu denies wrongdoing, saying the charges are a witch hunt. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Firefighters are battling a wildfire in Malibu, California, near Pepperdine University that's prompting evacuations. Los Angeles County Fire Department officials are estimating at least 2.8 square miles have been burned. Structures were being threatened here. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 54 points. The NASDAQ down 9 points. More at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-885-3333. That's 800-885-3333. 800-885-3333.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Colder air takes over on this Tuesday. We've got 30s this morning, a chilly high at 42 this afternoon under partly cloudy skies. Dropping to 29 early tomorrow morning, a weak Clipper-type system approaching for Wednesday. So scattered flurries, maybe some light snow showers in the forecast Wednesday. Quick dusting possible on grassy and elevated surfaces. I think the roads are just primarily wet. Cold and breezy tomorrow, though, with afternoon wind chills in the 20s. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros, your all-in-one gutter service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. We discovered Gutter Pros a few years ago when we bought our home and inherited a gutter issue that was on the road to becoming a potentially big problem, but thanks to Gutter Pros was stopped before causing any major damage. They've also repaired the siding on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros are also the best for siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros can help your home at gutterpros.com.
Tim Jones here. I want to tell you about an awesome business located in my hometown of Eureka, Missouri that we use all the time for our exterior homestead needs. Eureka Contracting and Roofing. Veteran owned. They will come to you and schedule a one-on-one consultation. They know that replacing your roof or anything on the exterior of your home is always a really big deal, which is why they've always got a no pressure, no obligation inspection and evaluation. Fully licensed and insured. Nothing but the highest quality of materials made right here in the USA. 636-938-ROOF. 636-938-ROOF. EurekaContracting.com. That's EurekaContracting.com.
Navigating healthcare can be tricky, but you don't have to do it alone. The Navigator Project is here to help Missourians every step of the way. We provide free personalized assistance with enrollment in the healthcare marketplace. We'll guide you through your options, help find the right plan, and get the coverage you need. Go to ma4web.org and select the Services tab to find a navigator. Brought to you by the Missouri Association of Area Agencies on Aging.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis's #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
From the NYPD to the Secret Service to behind the microphone, taking the fight to the radical left and the putrid swamp. You're listening to the Dan Bongino Show. Here he is, Dan Bongino.
But yeah, yesterday's show was one of those shows. I think I even threw producer Jim for a loop because, he usually, when you're on the radio with a guy, I mean, sometimes, Jim, I'm with you more during the day than I am with Paula. I mean, if Paula's got to take my daughter to volleyball and they got a school event, I may see her an hour a day. Not Jim, producer Jim, 3 hours a day. He is stuck. We are face-to-face on the Skype, but we're still, looking at each other here. And we're together a lot. So it's very rare that Jim is kind of thrown for a loop. And yesterday during the show, of course, there was the arrest of the suspect. And again, the suspect, everyone is entitled to due process. I can't say that enough. Luigi Mangione and the United Healthcare CEO. And right, Jim, you had no idea where I was going with it. You even looked at me a little confused, like, because I was really caught off guard. So if you missed it, it was like, yeah, he was watching me, man. Brothers and sisters, he was watching me. And he just said, I don't know if his mic was on or not, but he said, it was like Dan saw a ghost. Because this thing took a personal turn, right quick, as I've heard people say down south. I didn't know what to do. So for those of you who missed it, this suspect in this case, Luigi Mangione, in the United Healthcare CEO assassination, is related to a guy I knew for a long time. A guy, Nino Mangione. And I have to say, what's happening to the family over there, I'll tell you how I knew him in a second, is really, really disgraceful. The family has nothing to do with this at all. People have family members, Jim, I mean, you and I have personal experience. People have family members that do stuff all the time. It's painful enough that, and again, the guy's a suspect. There's nothing proven in court yet. However, it's a troubling case. And you have to deal with kind of two forks getting stuck in you. The first one is that the pain of having to deal with a family member who's done something bad, which you're dealing with personally because you don't want family members to do bad stuff. But then the second thing is people want to somehow obscenely, immorally, and unethically kind of pin the blame on you. Folks, again, I've dealt with this stuff. It's really disgusting. The family has nothing to do with it at all. This young man, if it turns out he was the guy, when he's given his due process, made his own decisions in his own life. And it's really troubling because I know the cousin very well. And the reason I know him and why I was kind of shocked on the air yesterday, for those of you who lived through that moment with me, is they gave me my start in radio. The family, I believe, owns or has a big ownership stake in a radio station in Baltimore. It's a big radio station too, WCBM. And I worked there for years. I was one of their roster of fill-in hosts. I used to do Christmas mornings. I filled in for Tom Marr, God rest his soul, very popular host. He's since passed. I used to do the morning show. They had Sean and Frank, and then Sean later on a different fill-in. And I would fill in for anyone at WCBM. And that was my start in radio. I don't know if those clips are still out there, but it's funny if you go back and you listen to that stuff in my early rookie amateur days, you'd be like, oh my gosh, is this even the same guy? I kind of like got the rust off my radio persona at WCBM. And I want to say to the crew over there, I'll always be grateful. And Nino Mangione, cousin of this suspect, could not have been a more gracious or patriotic. I mean, you want to talk about a guy who loves his country. He's a state Republican delegate, Jim, in Maryland. You're like, there are Republicans in Maryland? Yes, shockingly, there are. So what's happening to that family is just disgusting. So the reason I bring it up is the Mangione family put out a statement last night, and I'm telling you personally, if you believe anything your humble host, Dan Bongino, has ever told you, this is an amazing family. An amazing family. They really, really love. You know how much they do for charity in that area? Ask anyone in the Baltimore County. They do some in Baltimore City too, but for those of you unfamiliar with Maryland, Baltimore, and if you're in Maryland, you're probably laughing. Like, everybody knows this. No, not everybody doesn't. You have Baltimore City, and then you have Baltimore County. They're not the same thing. Baltimore County is a very large area. It's distinct from Baltimore City. So the Mangione